analyze the trends here and how they're growing, is it all starts with engagement. The more engaged users you have, not only monthly but daily, you have of course the most attractive games or groups of people. So companies started tracking metrics like monthly active users, daily active users, and then a variation of those to understand how the stickiness of games or platforms. And then once you get the engagement up, then you get the monetization. And for monetization, there are different ways to monetize within, the platforms. But it all starts with a digital storefront. If you go into the console business now, PlayStation has their own digital storefront within the platform. Microsoft with Xbox have their own digital storefront within the platform. And of course, the App Store for mobile is, exactly that. So you can, get premium locations in those storefronts because there are thousands of pieces of content that you can buy, and, just discovering it's pretty challenging. So paying for that premium location in those storefronts is very profitable, because if you're in the front, you sell more. And then there are in-game, promotions of transactions. Within the game, you're like, oh, you finished this level. Do you want to go to the next? Within the game, without going to any storefront, you just, purchase the new level or the new game or the new weapon. And then those are very, very profitable as well. But it all starts with engaging. If you see people in your platform, then you'll end up monetizing them down the road. But most of the companies are really focused on growing that engagement, growing the monthly active users, growing the daily active users, because then they start monetizing out of that funnel. I don't know if this is helpful.
Yeah, it is very helpful. Can you discuss more about the engagement strategy of the Microsoft? You mentioned they have their Xbox Online services, and how many of the users are actually the daily active users currently? So
I cannot speak to specific numbers, but the main strategy was, Microsoft, just as PlayStation and Nintendo, they have different generations of consoles, and people are still playing in different generations today. So for example, by the time I worked for Microsoft, we had, a lot of users playing in Xbox 360, which was the previous console. And then we had a lot of people playing on Xbox One, who was the newer console. So we could look at, how that engagement trend went. It was going, of course, down for an old platform like the 360, and it was going up very fast for an Xbox One console. So, the strategy is really about, how can I move the people still playing on the last generation to move to the next generation, and what games they're playing. And based on that, what can I do to address them and to move them so I can keep them engaged, because I know that an engaged user in the new generation will spend more money than an engaged user in the previous generation. They're more casual gamers, and they are not as engaged as the other ones. So without getting to specific numbers, pretty much the strategy is, what are the things that get people highly engaged? So, for example, if a new game is coming out, not necessarily for Microsoft, it can be a multi-platform game. In some cases, it was a good thing for Microsoft to promote that game within the console, even though somebody else was making the money out of that game, to make sure that people knew about, what's coming. And same thing with PlayStation. Sony also was interested in, for example, the new FIFA game is coming up. And of course, they really wanted to promote it, both Xbox and PlayStation, because you wanted the gamers to play FIFA on your platform. And that drives engagement. And if you get one person to play, and, the heavy influencers, they get others to play in that platform. And that all drives engagement for the full platform, even if they're playing only one or two games. So the main strategy was rely on content, new content